We're now less than 2 weeks away from the highly anticipated January 5th Senate runoff in Georgia. The races will decide who leads the Senate for the first 2 years of the Biden administration. Democrats hope to unseat incumbent Republican Senators David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler in an effort to swing the Senate and turn the state blue. The races are also playing a significant role in projecting the future of the state in elections moving forward. However, the contest between Senator Loeffler and her challenger, Reverend Raphael Warnock, is exposing some deep-seated issues among the state's religious observers. An article in the Christian Science Monitor looks into how this deep rift within the Christian faith is impacting the vote ahead of the January 5th election. I want to bring in Patrik Jonsson. He's a reporter at the Christian Science Monitor and author of the article that was published in the Christian Science Monitor reporting on these. He joins me now. Patrik, thank you so much for joining us. Georgia's Senate runoff has now transcended politics. It's exposed a deep-seated rift among Christians. How is religion playing a role in the January 5th runoff election?
Well, Reverend Raphael Warnock is the challenger here, and he's the senior pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church, which is kind of the public cathedral of Georgia. It's where Martin Luther King preached, of course, and is kind of a place where Republicans and Democrats come every Martin Luther King Day Jr. to kind of pay homage to the King family and to really the Black church and the civil rights movement and the legacy of Georgia and Atlanta in the civil rights movement and its kind of legacy. So the fact that he's running has made it kind of forced the Republicans to kind of really thread a needle to either attack him, but if you're attacking him, you risk attacking the Black church, which could backfire for sure.
Yeah, well, there's certainly, there have been some strong words from Senator Loeffler, who has, questioned his faith on things like abortion and his stance on that. She's painted him as a radical liberal. Why are we seeing religion play such a critical role in this race? Obviously, we're talking about the South here, the Bible Belt. The Christian base is really strong. Yeah,
well, I would say Georgia's. I think abortion is a big part of it. Georgia is kind of very much in the center of the pro-life movement with Georgia Right for Life. And we also had a heartbeat bill that was passed a couple of years ago that was very controversial that was struck down by courts, but it really divided the state. There's a lot of movie and TV production in the state, and a lot of them threatened to boycott. So that's certainly one reason. And of course, like you said, it's the Bible Belt. And people still go to church here. Most people go to church, and about 40% of voters here are evangelicals, so white evangelicals, and you have a huge portion of the Black population that go to historically Black churches, and there's really two parallel tracks there. Of course, the evangelical church is focused more on personal salvation, and the Black church is kind of a social gospel, has a different tradition, very much in the tradition of Martin Luther King Jr., who preached, against militarism and preached for economic equality and things like that. So they're not often in conflict, but they've come into conflict a little bit in this race.
This breakdown of the voter base there is fascinating to me. I want to get back to Senator Loeffler and some of the attacks that she has cast against Reverend Warnock for his religious beliefs while on the campaign trail. Last week, a group of 100 Black pastors asked the senator to, quote, cease and desist the attacks. The pastors said they were attacks on the Black church as a whole. How are race and religion intertwined in Georgia, and how does this impact the election?
Yeah, I think, well, they are definitely intertwined, like I said earlier, but I think those attacks, for this story, I talked to several reverends who were incredibly offended at that. And I think a lot of people in the Black church are, because it's how do you attack the leader of Ebenezer Church, who's been vetted by that church and not expected to paint his flock in that same light, and to paint the Black church as radical, it's a stretch for a lot of people. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays, whether she's trying to energize kind of the white base, of course, in Georgia. Will it also backlash and get Black voters out?
Yeah, that's some fascinating analysis, Patrik Jonsson. Thank you for doing this story, and thank you for coming on our air to talk about it. We appreciate it.
Good to be here. Thanks.